falls on the pavement slow. In silver urban lines, it softens edges of the street and signs of hurried afternoon that fades behind the glass. Inside the room stays low and warm, with muted amber light, a cup of coffee cooling down just right. The city moves outside, but softly far away. In the silence of the rain, the rhythm stays contained, nothing louder than the flow of thought that starts to grow in the silence of the rain. The piano leans in tempered chords, smooth and understated, each phrase unfolding carefully, created for steady working hands and minds that need the calm. Her voice arrives in quiet tone, cool and self-contained. It rests above the gentle bass, unstrained, without dramatic rise or sudden shift in light. In the silence of the rain, the hours feel restrained. Every breath begins to slow, every thought begins to flow in the silence of the rain. The bass continues, patient steps, measured, clean, precise. It grounds a softened harmony like ice, melting into tone without a sudden shift. Brush drums whisper subtle strokes like water on the street. They frame the steady swing beneath the beat, without a crash or spark, just pulse beneath the thought. Rain gathers on the sidewalk stones, then slips into the drain. Its rhythm steady, undemanding, plain, yet constant in its fall, like focus held in place. A notebook open on the desk, its margins wide and clear. The melody suggests a line appears without a forced idea or restless search for sound. The afternoon grows deeper now, but never heavy loud. The harmony remains composed, unbowed, in cool deliberate flow, that steady scattered thought. The chords expand then settle back in balance, quiet sway. They color every careful move in gray and silver urban tones of rain against the glass. A passing car beyond the pane leaves ripples in the street. Its fading sound dissolves into the beat of rainfall, steady, slow, and distant city hum. The room feels narrower, focused, protected from the rush. The melody sustains the air in hush, where effort finds its line without demanding force. The world beyond the window fades to soften, shifting blur. The music holds the inner room secure. where work becomes a rhythm and time dissolves to calm. In the silence of the rain, the rhythm stays contained, nothing louder than the flow of thought that starts to grow in the silence of the rain. In steady silver rain, it softens every hurried step and lane of afternoon that slows behind the office glass. Inside the air is low and still with muted amber glow. A porcelain cup rests near the page below. The rhythm of the rain moves quietly outside. In the silence of the rain, the rhythm stays contained, nothing louder than the flow of thought that starts to grow in the silence of the rain. The electric piano breathes in chords, cool and deliberate, each phrase unfolding evenly sedate for steady working hands and measured lines of thought. Her voice descends in calm restraint, smooth and almost spare. It hovers just above the bass in air, without dramatic lift or sudden change in tone. In the silence of the rain, the hours feel restrained. Every breath begins to slow, every thought begins to flow in the silence of the rain. The bass continues careful steps, measured, soft, exact. It anchors every tempered chord intact in quiet forward motion that never feels too fast. Brush drums trace a subtle line like droplets on the stone. They frame the muted lounge groove alone, without a crashing break, just pulse beneath the work. Rain gathers at the curbside edge, then slips into the drain. Its pattern steady, unadorned and plain, yet constant in its fall, like focus held in place. A document glows on the screen, its margins clean and clear. The melody suggests a path appears, without a forced idea or restless second guess. The afternoon grows dim but calm in softened urban shade. The harmony remains composed and laid, passing train beyond the block fades into distant hum. Its echo folds into the groove, become a texture in the air, not breaking steady flow. The room feels sealed from outer rush, protected, inward turned. The melody sustains the space unburned by pressure or display, just measured concentration. The rain continues patient fall across the city grid. Its rhythm mirrors inner calm, well hid beneath the steady bass and tempered minor chords. The world beyond dissolves to blur in glass and silver tone. The music holds the working mind alone, where effort turns to rhythm and time moves quietly on. In the silence of the rain, the rhythm stays contained, nothing louder than the flow of thought that starts to grow in the silence of the rain. The pavement shines, the screen stays lit. City grid, impatient silver threads, they blur the edges of the day and spread across the muted glass of quiet office rooms. A narrow beam of softened light falls gently on the desk. The room feels insulated now at rest from traffic and from haste. Beyond the window frame, in the hush of afternoon, the rhythm settles soon, nothing louder than the flow of thoughts aligned and slow. In the hush of afternoon, keys release cool chords, measured and composed, each phrase unfolding evenly exposed, without dramatic rise or ornamental turn. Her voice remains in lower tone, cool and understated. It moves above the steady bass, unfaded in disciplined control of breath and tempered swing. In the hush of afternoon, the tempo holds its tune. Every breath begins to slow, every thought begins to grow. In the hush of afternoon, the bass maintains a careful walk, minimal and clean. It shapes the quiet harmony between the rain and muted chords in balanced lounge, restrained. Soft brushes trace the hidden beat like droplets on stone stairs. They frame the steady inner pulse with care. No accents sharp or bright, just grounded, even sway. Rain gathers in the crosswalk lines and slips through narrow seams. Its rhythm constant, disciplined, it seems to mirror steady hands across a waiting page. A cursor blinks in patient light on paragraphs half formed. The melody suggests the next, unforced, in tempered minor hues of urban afternoon. The sky remains a muted gray, but never dark or dense. The harmony sustains the space, intense, in focus, not in weight or emotional display. Chords widen and retract again in balanced, measured breath. They never push the pace too far nor stretch beyond composed restraint of thoughtful concentration. A distant siren fades away into the falling rain, its echo folding into tone, contained within the steady groove of focused inner work. The room feels sealed from outer rush, protected by the sound. The melody draws a quiet line around the working afternoon. In poise, electric glow. Rain continues, steady fall across the stone facade. Its pattern firm, yet etched waves abroad in quiet repetition, like lines across a page. The city hum dissolves to mist in silver window haze. The music holds the center space and stays where labor turns to rhythm, and minutes pass unseen. In the hush of afternoon, the rhythm holds its tune, nothing louder than the flow of thoughts aligned and slow. In the hush of afternoon, the street grows dim, the page grows full. Through window glass and rain on painted stone. The afternoon in steady sway, alone, yet calm and undisturbed by hurried passing hours. A cup left cooling near the keys reflects the silver sky. The lounge courts settle into place nearby with disciplined restraint and softened tonal hue. In the quiet fall of rain, tempo stays contained. Nothing brighter than the tone of focus newly grown in the quiet fall of rain. Electric piano leans in low with minor shaded lines. It colors space with measured calm designs of balance and control without dramatic swell. Her voice remains precise and cool, barely rising high. It moves above the walking bass nearby with steady even breath and neutral phrasing flow in the quiet fall of rain. The hours feel contained. Every breath begins to slow, every thought begins to flow in the quiet fall of rain. The bass keeps minimal ascent, step measured after step. It never pulls attention far or steps beyond the lounge restraint of disciplined swing. Brushes sweep in subtle arcs across the snare's soft skin, like rain across the pavement edge and thin reflections in the street of urban afternoon. Outside umbrellas pass in gray and traffic slows to hum, but inside harmony sustains the sum of patience, steady work and balance, quiet thought. Begins to form line after careful line. The melody suggests a path in time without abrupt command or urgent rising flare. The sky remains a softened shade of silver urban calm. The chords remain deliberately in palm of tempered minor tone and steady pulse beneath. Control design, it guides the working afternoon in line with balance, forward motion, unforced and quietly firm. Rain threads down the window pane in parallel descent, its pattern constant on a chassis bent toward repetition's grace, like practice made routine. Feels wrapped in tempered sound, protected and precise. The melody sustains the flow concise without a single surge of overstated mood. The afternoon grows deeper still, but never heavy stark. The harmony maintains its cool and mark of thoughtful discipline in measured quiet swing. A distant veil across the city stone. The music holds the inner space alone, where effort turns to cadence and cadence turns to calm in the quiet fall of rain. The tempo stays contained. Nothing brighter than the tone of focus newly grown in the quiet fall of rain. The window gleams, the groove remains. Ooh. Silver pavement glistens faint beneath the softened sky. The afternoon in tempered hue drifts by. Impatient steady rain on silent cobblestone. The cafe corner holds its calm with muted lounge design, electric chords in gentle sway, with footsteps far away beyond the narrow glass. In the silver afternoon, the rhythm holds its tune, nothing louder than the flow of thought that moves below. In the silver afternoon, keys release restrained phrases, measured and refined. They color space in quiet tones, designed for steady working hours without dramatic rise. Her voice descends in polished calm, cool and evenly placed. It rests upon the grounded bass, by subtle brush support in soft and lounge control. In the silver afternoon, the hours stay in tune. Every breath begins to slow, every thought begins to grow. In the silver afternoon, the bass continues even steps, minimal and sure. It shapes the calm interior, secure against the city noise beyond the rainy street. Brushes trace a delicate arc across restrained snare skin, like rainfall on a metal rail, so and constant in descent without a sudden flare. Umbrellas tilt along the curb in softened distant lines, their rhythm merging quietly with signs of muted traffic flow in steady afternoon. Paragraph begins to build in careful, balanced tone. The melody suggests its shape unknown, until it finds its pace within the measured swing. The sky remains in tempered gray, but never bleak or stark. The harmony sustains the air, discipline, composure, and urban lounge restraint. Chords widen then retract again in balanced inner breath. They guide the work without a push or a stretch, beyond its steady frame of thoughtful concentration. Rain continues patient fall across the granite stone, its pattern firm yet at a phrase free shown in quiet repetition, like metrics on a page. The room feels narrowed into calm, protected by the groove. The melody sustains the mind and proves that silence can contain the strongest forward motion. The afternoon drifts deeper now, but stays in measured tone. No surge of emotional light is shown, just lounge, inflected calm, and tempered urban swing. The city hum dissolves to mist in silver window haze. The music anchors inner space and stays where labor turns to cadence, and cadence turns to ease in the silver afternoon. The rhythm holds its tune, nothing louder than the flow of thought that moves below in the silver afternoon. The rain subsides, the work goes on. Concrete reflections at 4 p.m. ensue the muted ray. They blur the edges of the day and stain the glass with softened light in steady urban tone. The cafe air is low and still, with tempered amber hue, a cooling cup beside the keys in view, while traffic fades to hum beyond the rain-wet streets. In the measured afternoon, the rhythm keeps its tune, nothing louder than the flow, a focus set to slow in the measured afternoon. Electric chords arrive in calm, cool and evenly spaced, each phrase unfolding without rush or haste. In a lounge refined control of breath and tempered swing, her voice remains composed and clear, lower, disciplined. It rests above the walking bass, pinned to subtle brush support in balanced, quiet sway. In the measured afternoon, the hours stay in tune. Every breath begins to slow, every thought begins to grow in the measured afternoon. The bass maintains a careful path, minimal, precise. It anchors every shaded chord like ice that melts without a sound into the lounge groove. Brush strokes trace the hidden beat like rain along the curve. They frame the steady inner pulse undisturbed. No accent sharp or bright, just grounded even time. Umbrellas passing softened lines across the crosswalk stones, their rhythm merging stage begins to fill with lines measured and composed. The melody suggests a shape exposed without a forced display of sudden inspiration. The sky remains a muted gray, but never bleak or stark. The harmony sustains the air and mark of thoughtful concentration in tempered minor hues. Chords widen, then retreat again. In balanced inner breath, they guide the working hours on beneath a calm electric glow. A lounge restrained. Green gathers at the curbside edge, then slips through hidden drains. Its pattern constant, unobtrusive, remains like metrics on a screen in steady repetition. The room feels sealed from outer rush, protected inward turned. The melody sustains the space unburned by pressure or display. Just measured quiet focus. The afternoon grows deeper still, yet never heavy loud. The groove remains deliberately unbowed in cool collected tone of urban rainy calm. The city blurs to silver mist beyond the tinted pane. The music keeps the inner room contained, where labor turns to rhythm and rhythm turns to ease. In the measured afternoon, the rhythm keeps its tone. Nothing louder than the flow of focus set too slow. And the measured afternoon, the pavement gleams, the cursor the pavement gleams, the cursor moves. The pavement gleams, cursor glass and gray horizons blur in gentle, steady rain. The afternoon in temper light sustains a quiet urban breath. Behind the cafe wall, a narrow beam of silver glow falls softly on the desk. The room remains composed and still at rest from footsteps on the street. Beyond the rain streaked pane, in the quiet city rain, the tempo stays contained. Nothing louder than the flow of thought. permeates the air with minor lounge design, each chord unfolding patiently in line with disciplined restraint of focused working hours. Her voice descends in lower tone, cool and unadorned. It moves above the steady bass, unworn by ornament or climb, in subtle measured swing. In the quiet city rain, the hours stay contained. Every breath begins to slow, every thought begins to grow in the quiet city rain. The bass proceeds in careful steps, balanced and discreet. It shapes the muted harmony complete, without dramatic surge or sudden tonal flare. Brushes whisper steady strokes like water on the stone. They frame the lounge inflected groove alone in calm interior time of silver afternoon. Traffic fades to distant hum along the avenue, its rhythm folding quietly into the measured jazz restraint of tempered electric chords. A screen reflects the softened sky in subtle shifting gray. The melody suggests a line to play across the open page in steady forward motion. The sky remains deliberately hued, cool, refined. The harmony sustains the air designed for concentrated work without emotional weight. Chords expand then narrow back in balanced inner breath. They guide the afternoon along beneath a calm restrained pulse of lounge precision. Rain threads down the window pane in parallel descent, its pattern firm yet inattrisive bend toward repetition's grace, like metrics in a row. The room feels centered in the groove, protected and composed. The melody sustains the space enclosed from hurried outer pace of city afternoon. The hours move without a rush in tempered urban shade. The rhythm holds the inner line displayed in steady minor hue of focused concentration. The world dissolves to soften blurring glass and silver tone. The music anchors working thought alone, where effort finds its cadence and cadence finds its calm. In the quiet city rain, the tempo stays contained. Nothing louder than the flow of thought aligned and slow in the quiet city rain. The by sirens or by speed. Behind the cafe glass, a muted amber lamp still glows beside a cooling cup. The lounge chords settle carefully and set a steady inner pace for focused, measured thought. In the silver after rain, the rhythm stays contained. Nothing brighter than the tone of focus fully grown in the silver after rain. Electric keys release cool lines, balanced and restrained. Each phrase unfolding patiently, unstrained, without a sudden rise in tempered minor hues. Her voice remains in lowered calm, polished, understated. It floats above the walking bass, unfaded, in disciplined control of breath and subtle swing. In the silver after rain, the hours stay contained. Every breath begins to slow, every thought begins to grow in the silver after rain. The bass maintains its careful walk, minimal and sure. It shapes the quiet harmony, secure against the fading noise beyond the rainy street. Brush strokes shimmer feather light like droplets on the rail. They frame the muted lounge groove without fail, in steady subtle arcs of urban calm design. Pedestrians in softened lines move slowly through the gray, their rhythm merging quietly with play of tempered minor chords in balanced afternoon. A notebook fills with patient lines, measured and exact. The melody suggests the next compact, without a forced display of hurried inspiration. The sky remains in tempered shade of silver urban tone. The harmony sustains the air alone, in thoughtful steady flow of concentrated calm. Chords widen then retreat again in balanced measured breath. They guide the working hours on beneath a calm electric glow of lounge precision. Rain collects on iron rails, then slips in quiet streams. Its pattern constant wear tells when it seems to mirror steady hands across a waiting page. The room feels narrowed into focus, protected by the groove. The melody sustains the mind and proves that silence can contain forward motion clean. The afternoon drifts toward its close, yet never turns severe. The rhythm holds its tempered line and clear intent of steady calm. In urban minor tone, the rain becomes a distant veil across the city grid. The music keeps the inner space well hid, where labor turns to cadence and cadence turns to ease. In the silver after crosswalk lines in rain. The afternoon stands still. They seal the hush across the street until the traffic fades to tone behind the cafe glass. The tempered lamp above the desk casts amber on the page. The lounge chords settle into place, engaged in quiet urban calm of steady working hours. In the quiet after rain, the tempo stays contained, nothing louder than the flow of thought aligned and slow. In the quiet after rain, electric piano shapes the air with minor shaded hue, each phrase unfolding patiently and true, without a sudden rise or ornamental turn. Her voice remains in lower calm, polished, cool, precise. It rests upon the steady bass like ice, melting into groove. In measured lounge restrained, in the quiet after rain, the hours stay contained. Every breath begins to slow, every thought begins to grow. In the quiet after rain. The bass proceeds in tearful steps, balanced and discreet. It anchors every tempered chord, complete, without dramatic swell or rhythmic display. Brushes trace a subtle arc across restrained snare skin, like rainfall on a window rail, so thin and constant in descent, without a sudden flare. Umbrellas move in softened rows across the granite square, their rhythm folding quietly in air, with muted traffic hum of silver afternoon. The cursor blinks in steady light on the paragraphs in draft. The melody suggests a path crafted without a forced demand for hurried inspiration. The sky remains deliberately muted, cool, refined. The harmony sustains the air, designed for concentrated thought. Tracked again and measured in a breath. They guide the working hours on beneath a calm electric glow of lounge precision. Rain gathers on the metal rails, then slips through hidden seams. Its pattern firm yet unobtrusive. It seems to mirror steady focus across the open page. The room feels sealed from outer rush, protected inward drawn, and melody sustains the space till dawn of clearer thought and line in tempered urban swing. The afternoon grows deeper now, yet never heavy stark. The rhythm holds its centered hinted pain. The music keeps the inner mind contained, where effort turns to cadence, and cadence turns to calm. In the quiet after rain, the tempo stays contained, nothing louder than the flow